America, this is Mark A back in effect. Mark A stay in effect. Mark A will always be in effect.
Life is a bus, so the service a must. They make you turn up your phone before you get off the bus and make you wanna go home, dog. There's nowhere to run, so you must sleep through day zero to get to day one. And 9 weeks later, the basic shit done.
I'm ready to go.
Whenever you're ready.
What's up, America? This is Mark A back in effect, stay in effect, and always will be in effect. And again, we got another good thing coming. We got a special one. We got a special one today, okay? We got Chaplain Dr. Shabazz, okay? He is the highest Muslim chaplain in history of the United States Armed Forces. The highest Muslim chaplain in history in the Armed Forces. And today, we are, Mark A is sipping on some Glenlivet. Glenlivet, okay? 1824. You got the Coke?
I'm keeping it sober tonight.
You keeping it sober tonight? I'm just taking a sip. It's a little sip, a little nip. I'm gonna hit the gym later on tonight. Okay. Thank you for coming to the show, Dr. Shabazz.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
A pleasure to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you,
So
guys.
let's get it going.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I appreciate it.
And let's get it on. So, Dr. Shabazz, tell me where it all began.
Well, I tell you, again, thank you guys for inviting me. This is the part that is going to get kind of tricky and kind of traumatic. So for me, my story began 10 years old, being molested by a family friend. That event itself turned a pretty lively kid into a depressed kid, a confused kid, because I couldn't understand why somebody who was in my family would molest me. And so based upon that, special education in the 8th grade, failed the 9th grade, failed the 10th grade. I was getting myself back on track, and then I failed the 12th grade where I had to go to summer school and graduate. I couldn't graduate with my class. Thankfully, as we talked before in the pre-show, God gave me this huge body. And so I'm about 6'5", 265. I was about 230 back then, so I got to go to school and play ball. Well, I still hadn't dealt with the molestation. I still hadn't dealt with the anger and the pain from that. So quite honestly, anybody who looked at me for more than 3 seconds, I would just beat the hell out of them, because I didn't know whether they were looking at me, because I didn't know whether I was a man or a woman. I grew up with women, then I was molested. And so I was struggling with that type of identity. And so I was fighting and I was drinking myself to sleep at night. Well, as anything like that would come to a head, I went to a party one night. I had been drinking, and 6 guys were there waiting on me because the people on campus were tired of me bullying them. And so they shot me in the back, beat me with a shovel, where I almost lost my life. I was medevaced out to what's called Tyler Medical Center, and I almost lost my life there at 21 years old. Well, you would think, honestly, after a traumatic event like that happened to a person, that they would straighten up and fly right. Well, I went back to school after I healed 6 months later, and I saw this kid. And of course, some of the problems in our community, friends could be able to life or death of you. So I went to my friends, told them the kid was on campus. And as usual, they gave me bad advice. One guy gave me a 45, the other guy gave me a sawed-off shotgun. So I was in set to eliminate this kid. Always, you have somebody in the wilderness, I call, who you respect. And I went over to this guy. He was a senior on the basketball team. And this is going to be kind of tough for me. So he said, man, Prime, they used to call me Prime Time. He said, man, don't do that, because you're going to let your mom down. That's a trigger word for me. I always loved my mom. I was a mama's boy. And so that night I decided not to kill him. But I got a crowbar out of my car, and I beat him really bad. Well, that sent me to jail. I was carried off campus in handcuffs. And then from there, I went to Alexandria, Louisiana, where I worked as a janitor / cashier. And then, my girlfriend got pregnant, and I decided to come into the Army. Well, as the theme of this story is, I still hadn't dealt with the molestation. So I came in the Army 1991, still had real problems with my identity. And so every NCO, every officer who thought about telling me what to do, I was into a scuffle with them. So I got 2 Article 15s, chapter paperwork in hand. Okay, so 1 year in, I was getting ready to get put out of the military. So I decided at that point to kill myself. And the great thing about life is always somebody there to help you make a choice. A sergeant major came and he told me, talked to me for an hour or so, and he told me he'd be my mentor. And he became my mentor, and I decided to dedicate the rest of my life to education. I've been in school for 25 straight years, 2 doctorate degrees and 5 master's degrees. I decided that it took me 25 years to destroy my life. I was going to do whatever I could for the next 25 years to rebuild my life, and that's what I've done. That's the story, brother.
Woo! That's deep.
Wow. TV timeout. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, that's the story.
D. Brooke, you okay?
Yeah,
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, for making me do this.
Yeah, that story.
You have no idea. Oh, this is Aaron.
Yeah,
I don't care. Go ahead, Mark.
You okay, D. Brooks?
Keep it going.
But that story has made men like D. Brooke and others sob, because I'm sobbing when I tell it. It's been 15 years I've been telling this story, and it's been healing me. I tell it around the Army. I tell it around the world. I tell it internationally. And the reason I do that is because it's a lot of men who are hurting. It's a lot of men who have been molested. It's a lot of men who have been in trouble, who don't think that they can turn their lives around, because we're dealing with a lot of issues that we can't tell our friends, because our friends will call us weak, will call us a punk, or whatever other adjective they use. So I understand that emotion that he's going through, because I hear it every day, because I tell this story every time I have a chance. And it's really a story of restoration and redemption. They're saying to all people out there, listen, man, your past don't define you. You define you. The only difference between me and anybody else in this world is a decision. I decided to pick myself up. I decided to not let life define me. And I went on this journey, man. And I tell you, it's been a hell of a ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, Chaplain Shabazz has been out there in the force, for all these years. I mean, I think I met you. I think it was in Lewis. When you were stationed in Lewis, right? You were stationed in Lewis at one particular time, but it was 2000. Yeah. And you had a sermon, because every Friday we had Juma, and I went there, and just the powerful words that you basically speak, when what you were saying, it just made me keep coming back, and that's why I'm like, when I, as lost touch or whatever, but then I've been seeing you throughout the last few, especially last 6 years or so, and just elevate and getting up in rank and everything, and giving back, and yes. I'm like, man, it's amazing. 2 doctorate degrees, you said. How many masters? 4 masters?
5 masters.
5 master's degrees, and still continuously to put forward, not saying that you're the greatest in the world, but what you're saying is that you want other people to be great as well, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I have a intractable relationship with this word called humility. People always say, be humble, be humble. Well, if you look at the definition of humble in the dictionaries, it's a person that thinks less of themselves, that doesn't think they're important. So for me, humility is having all the things that I have, all the things that I've accomplished, and I want to give them away for free. That's humility. I've put 83 people through officer school. I've helped 12 people get doctorate degrees, and I started a fund where I'm helping people get master's degrees. See, that's humility. Arrogance is me sitting around with all of this education and telling people how great I am. That's arrogance. We need to redefine what humility is. Humility is not sitting in a corner, saying, well, I don't want anybody to think I'm arrogant. I don't want to tell people about my education. Yeah, you better tell people about your education because it gives them hope. You don't know where people are in their life. And so if they can see a person like you who's a regular guy, no matter what people tell me, I'm a regular guy who made a decision. And so when they see that, that gives them hope. The other day on Facebook, this guy's name is Wright, 55 years old. He heard a prayer that I gave, and then he started looking me up on the internet. He looked me up on the internet and saw all that stuff and saw the story I just told you. Do you know that this guy at 55 years old decided to go back to school, and he said he will not stop until he get his doctorate degree?
That's what's
he
up.
Said because I gave him confidence, dude. I've never talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep.
See?
And to elaborate on that, Dr. Shabazz, I'm gonna put it out there. When I first came up with this idea was Apex 07, the Apex 07 podcast show. I contacted you. Am I right?
That's right. That's right.
And I said to you, like, yo, what do you think about this?
That's
and
right.
You told me straight up. And then I think it was about a month or two later, I was talking to one of my partners, and he's like, hey man, this guy's putting it on, man. You need to go ahead and go on now. Just drop something out there. And I'm like, no. I contacted you, because I felt in a way, and I was like, and you came out and said the smartest words I've like that I've ever said. He said, hey, Reed, somebody could take your idea, but it's authentic because it's your idea. You know what I mean? So they could do it and go on, but the way you do it your way. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how you do it, but just do it your way. And that's the motivation. This is what this man does. You know what I mean? This is what he touches. You know what I mean? Right. And he's not gonna, if you miss his call, if he misses your call, he's gonna call you back. No matter what number it is.
Yeah, because I could be the buffer between life and death for you. Mm-hmm. I was on TikTok the other day. This guy, his handle is Carly's dad, right? Mm-hmm. This cat said he seen my video. I was talking about my bouts with suicide. He said he was an hour man. He said he was an hour away from suicide, right? Mm-hmm. And so I got that message. I pulled my car over, and I made a video for him and telling him, how strong he was, and to thank him for saving his own life. I didn't save his life, but I just happened to be in the space, right? And so when you understand that you could be the buffer between life and death, you got to call people back because you don't know where people are in life and how arrogant it is if somebody's taking the time to reach out to you and you don't have time for them. Now that's arrogance.
Yeah. Yep. And that goes into this, Dr. Shabazz. Talk to me the duties and responsibilities of a chaplain, in the military.
Well, the duties and responsibility of a chaplain is a caregiver, man. And it's interesting that you bring that up. I didn't take this job because I had some super religious calling. God didn't talk to me. God didn't say, go out and spread the message to the world. When somebody told me about this job, the chaplain who told me about the job, he said, why don't you become a chaplain to help people like yourself?
Wow.
Bam. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And, just as human beings are, I started finding ways to talk myself out of it. Right? Yep. I'm not holy enough. I'm not going to be walking around telling people scriptures. They're not going to accept me. I started finding ways to talk myself out of it. Then I said, you know what? You're the perfect person for this job because you're not going to be doing that. You're going to just be talking to people. You're going to the gym. You're talking to people regular. You're on the internet. Just take the freaking job. And so I went to school, took the job, man, and obviously the rest is history. People connect with me because I'm authentic. I'm not putting on no airs. I don't want to talk about religion unless you want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about politics unless you want to talk about it. That's not who I am. My job is when you come to me, you're going to leave stronger. That's all I want. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't care who you are, your race, your ethnicity. When you leave my presence, my objective is for you to be stronger.
Wow. Wow. And so that being said, like, so what are your challenges? Like, what are your challenges, like, as far as being a chaplain? And now there's two questions. There's a two-part question. The challenges is like, what are the challenges of being a chaplain? Number one, and number two, is being a Muslim chaplain, because that's a little bit of it. That's a little bit.
That's the totality of the question, right? So being a chaplain is one thing. I'm a Muslim chaplain. There's only 5 in the army. We've been in conflict in the Islamic world for the last 18 years. So that brings its own challenges because, we've had service members who have died at the hands of people who are in the Islamic faith. We have been deployed in Islamic countries. So that brings about a lot of challenges for me, right? My first duty station, I go in to shake my commander's hand. He won't shake my hand. He said, "We got some problems with your religion, how you guys treat women. Have a nice day." Wouldn't talk to me for 9 months, right? And so that's a challenge for me, right? And so what I've done is I've used strategy, my personality, and who I am to be successful. And what I mean by that is one of the greatest things in life is to understand who you are. I understand I'm an extremely large human being. So most people are going to be intimidated just by my presence, right? Yeah. Now I'm a chaplain. That's more intimidation because most chaplains are not necessarily socially acceptable people. Mm-hmm. Now I'm a Muslim chaplain, right? And so with those 3 things, if you understand who you are, now here comes the internet where I can show people that I am human, that I'm working out. The story that I told, that's a human story. Had nothing to do with religion. So people connect with that type of authenticity, and it has made me extremely successful, obviously. I was given an interview 3 weeks ago with the Wall Street Journal. And the lady said, "We have interviewed presidents. We have interviewed senators and congressmen. You are the most interesting person I ever met in my life." Right?
Yeah.
Just think about that. Being able to navigate the space that I'm in, being who I am, right? Yeah. That's all about human connection. That's about understanding who you are and not being afraid to go out and connect with people, even though that initial, whatever that is, anxiety, that friction is going to be there. That's on me. And so I understand. I can't think of a time, honestly, over a period of time where I've been in somebody's presence and they don't like me. Initially, it's tough for them. I understand that. Yeah. But after 2 or 3 conversations, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's important about that is, and I think this is where religious people have a problem, man, in my opinion. The guy or girl that I connected with, you don't have to believe what I believe to be connected with me.
No, not at all.
You see, that's sincerity. I can care less what you believe. If you're a good person, you'll stay in my life. If you're a bad person, I'm going to try to help you through your badness because I have a responsibility, right? Most people are not mature enough to think like that because the only people we want around us is people who believe like us. I think that's a flaw.
Yeah.
And that's a flaw. I don't have to think like you. As a matter of fact, if I don't think like you, we're going to learn and grow from each other, even though there's conflict, right?
Hallelujah. And that goes to, like, say, for instance, like a perfect story. Like, you go to basic training. I went to basic training back in 1990, right? I'm from New York City. Okay, like, I've seen guys from Alabama, deep down country, South Alabama, black, white, purple, green, whatever, right? New York City is a melting pot, so it doesn't really matter, right? Yep. So of all races and ethnicity. But a kid from Wyoming looking at me or looking at all, like, the black guys in basic training and, like, looking at us like in awe, like, he heard about us, but he's never actually seen the areas that when he's in. But we as time goes on, we all of us embrace the same sucking basic training AIT, OSET, right? One unit station training or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that kid from Wyoming is like one of my best friends today. You know what I mean? But he grew up in a different type of way. So he had a different value, and we both came together. All of us came together and accomplished what we had to accomplish.
And that's the importance of being integrated as juxtaposed to segregated. It was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, same story going through outside. Drill Sergeant Pfaff, I'll never forget it. So white guy, big dog, alpha male. Me, black guy, big dog, alpha male. And we ain't talking. All we think, they trying to keep us apart because we about to rip each other's heads off, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you're young, you got all that testosterone, right?
Yeah.
So Drill Sergeant Pfaff pulls us both in, excuse my language. He said, both of y'all poor asses are going to be out of this military if you don't learn how to get along. Because I know neither one of y'all got nothing to go back to. So you better learn to get along. So he made us battle buddies. And so we like two bulls. Anything he say, I'm ready to knock his block off. Anything I say, he ready to knock my block off. So I say, listen, man, I got a wife and 2 kids. I got to make this work. And he said, very jokingly, he said, yeah, we can get through this together, but I ain't listening to none of that jungle music, right? And I said, no, straight up. And I said, yeah, I got it. You're trying to provoke me because you're afraid. I'm afraid too. I don't have no white friends, right? I'm 20 years old, 21 years old. And so I said, let me listen to some of your music, right? I said, I don't like that stuff either, but I got to find a way to get through basic training. He let me listen to Midnight in Montgomery. Man, let me tell you something. It changed my total paradigm on life instantly. I was like, wow. Because, growing up, this is the problem of growing up in segregated areas. Man, don't listen to none of that country stuff, man. It's horrible. It's this. But it automatically gave like a melody in my head. And I was like, oh, I've been tricked. I've been had. I've been bad. Yeah, but that song, and like me and him became friends. He came to my major promotion, man, and we just held each other and cried. But that's what I'm talking about. We've been put in these boxes by our parents, by our communities, by whoever, and we don't step across those lines, and that's why we don't get along.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly it. Now you said Fort Sill, Oklahoma, you went to basic training. Now, when you first came in the Army, what was your actual MOS?
I was field artillery.
That's right. What say it again?
Yeah, I was field artillery.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Boom, boom, baby.
Guns
boom,
bunnies,
boom.
baby.
Yeah,
Guns
that's
bunnies.
it. You was a Bravo?
I was a Bravo. Yeah.
I thought you was a Mike.
No, I came in 1991 right there at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Yeah. 429 Field Artillery out in Germany. That was my first duty station.
All right, yeah, because I was over there in Bamberg in 1992 to 94. 3-1 at
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was Field Artillery, man.
Oh,
Field Artillery. Field Artillery will make you become a chaplain.
I ain't no chaplain now, but 25 big ones, 25 big ones, thank God I'm a survivor, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what's up. And so what year you actually changed over? Did you do the OSET or did you do
for chaplains? No, for chaplains, right? So people don't know this about chaplains. Every chaplain on active duty has a master's degree. Everyone. Not some of them, all of them, right? So you have to get out of the Army and go to what we call seminary. It's a 3-year school where you get your religious degree at. So I got out as an E5, went to get my seminary degree, went to Jordan, studied Arabic and all that great stuff, which is another fascinating story. So I went to learn Arabic and then came back in 2000, where I was stationed in Bamberg in a field artillery unit, MLRS. So to go back into be a chaplain in field artillery, it was a godsend because I'm a big physical guy. We were working out, we were running, you know, we were, yeah, it was a godsend. Yeah.
What year was that when you went to the MRS unit in Bamberg?
2000.
Oh, 2000. Okay, yeah. I think was it I can't remember because it was a MLRS battalion across the street from the 4th Gate Ward. What was it? Warden Gate 4, I think it was called. The barracks is what?
Yeah. Right. They had the
Mm-hmm.
engineer battalion right there. Had the Vardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what's up. And then so that's what you did. And then from that time on, you just kept staying in school throughout the whole time that you was in.
Yeah, the whole time I was in, just went to school. Last summer was 25 straight years.
Wow.
Yeah, 25 straight years. I just refused to quit. And you know, once you put something in your head, I just said it took me 25 years to destroy my life. I'm gonna do the next 25 years to build a life of dignity, respect, and being unapologetically inspirational. Yeah, so that's what I did.
That's what's up. Now being in the military, right? How does religion impact the military? Because there's like I consider the Army, especially the military, a melting pot, like just like how it is in New York City. In the Army, you know, the last few years, as a matter of fact, in 2006, I had a guy, I ain't gonna even say the name, but he was a vampire, right? And I was like, a vampire. And he went to the field, you know, he drank blood. I said, Wicca, like I didn't know all these things. I was totally ignorant from all these things. I didn't know these religions, Wicca and vampirism. I don't know the religion. But he came out to the field one day and he had you know, those things that you put the IVs in.
Yeah,
sure. You know, and he had blood. I don't know if it was blood or not, but it was whatever it was. But he was, you know, he was sipping on the blood, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing, right? Because the other soldiers were around, and I'm like, I was a second chief. I'm like, hey man, I understand that you're doing that, but it's disrupting like the soldiers. The rest of the soldiers is like, yo, like, hey chief, what the hell is that? Like, I don't know. So hey man, I'm not against your religion. I'm not, but you know, what do you believe in? But like, let's just go outside the gun. Or, you know, when you go take a piss break or a smoke break, you know, that's when you go ahead and handle that. You know what I mean? Because it was bringing things. So, like, how like...
But so the military, another well-known fact, unknown fact, the military has 238 organized religions.
That's exactly what I'm going with. That's exactly.
Yeah, 238 organized religions. And if you are a human being, if you are sensitive to other people's needs, again, let's go back to this principle. I don't have to believe anything that they believe. I got my own set of beliefs, but my job is to facilitate what they believe. I'm going to say that again for the audience that might miss it. I don't have to believe anything that they believe. My job is to facilitate whatever their beliefs is. So we had 5 pagans out in Fort Jackson. Right. And they needed a place to worship. They needed a place to, of their own so they can do their rituals. So I go into the commander. I say, sir, we got 5 pagan people that need a place to worship. I don't want to hear that SHIT. Get out of my office. I say, sir, it's your responsibility. You're the commander. Kick me out of his office. But, you know, I'm a hard charger. And I'm relentless and I'm fearless. So that was on a Monday. I went back on Thursday. And so I say, sir, you got to get him a place to stay. Well, that's that chaplain SHIT. I don't believe in that. We'll give him a room. So I ended up giving him a room. You know, I didn't have to do anything for them. You know, we perform or provide. So I provided them a space. And I'm also a jokester, right? As you probably can tell by my personality. So they did their service on Sunday. And so at the command and staff, you know, after I gave my briefing, I said, you know, I just want to let you guys know we gave the Wiccas a place to worship. And since Lieutenant Colonel Battalion Commander gave them a place to work, he's the head of the Wiccans. He was pissed off. He was mad at me for about a month.
But you see, but
there was some growth in that.
Right. Yeah. That's right. But you know, but this you know what's important about that, and this is what's great about the country, and this could be the failure of the country. If my job tells me that that's my responsibility, and I'm getting paid to do that, and I know what discrimination feels like, what right do I have to discriminate against people?
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I mean, I do my job, man, and I you know what's interesting about it? I got thousands of stories, but I was at JBLM. So at JBLM, they had just brung in the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, right? And so
I was around.
You know,
I was around. That's when I seen you. I think that's around the time when I seen you.
that's when you see me. So you know, these two ladies, they couldn't get any counseling on post because they had gotten married, right? I wasn't aware of it. So the sergeant major who was in 593rd, he said, I know somebody who will counsel you guys. And so he called me. He said, Shabazz, hey, we got 2 females. Nobody won't counsel them. You got time? I said, I'll make time. So I go over. They come over. We sat down with them about an hour. I sat down with them about an hour, helped them out with whatever they needed help with, you know, hugged them both, and they went on about their life. Now, a month later, I became the first Muslim chaplain in the United States Army history to take a division, right? Mm-hmm. So the story is not me taking a division. The story is if you go back to the website, all the people who are under there saying he's a demon, we need to find out where he is, we're going to kill him in the pulpit, da, da, da. I mean, they were saying some nasty stuff. Now, the point of this story is these 2 women that nobody would help, I helped. I never said anything on those websites. They were in there fighting to the death for me. Like, yeah. It was like, he a good man. He just counseled us. You leave him alone. You come anywhere near him, I'm going to kill you. I'm like... But it goes back to the principle of just helping people. And they became warriors for me where I didn't even have to fight my own battles. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. You know, and that's something that I've witnessed myself being a leader in the military, in the Army. You know, like you don't have to say a word. Like your presence and your formations or what you do will speak for you. You know what I mean? It's nothing to be validated. I don't need to tell you everything. Yeah. Just pay attention. Just pay attention. That's right. What's about. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want to question is how does a military personnel affected by different religions in an organization, in the military organization? It's a lot of ways they could be affected, but I think, you know, when we talk about emotional intelligence, we talk about maturity, we're talking about just what we just spoke about. It's not your belief, it's theirs, right? And so what a leader needs to do is understand if I got 10 people in my section, what I need to do, first of all, I need to do a query of everybody's religion, right? And then based upon that, I need to have a real personal talk with them because we go to the field or we, you know, doing office stuff. We need to see how that's going to mesh and how it's going to affect everybody. Most people are afraid to do that because nobody likes to be confrontational. And it's not confrontational. I think it's advantageous to understand why people do things, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you understand that now, as a leader, I can navigate that space. Like you said, the brother who was drinking blood. So if I know that's his belief, then guess what? I can set up a time where he gets to do that and other soldiers not around. But if he just springs that on me because I'm afraid to talk to him, see, now we have a problem, right? Yeah. I got a problem. He got a problem because he thinks I'm discriminating against him. I don't want him to practice. So, you know, one of the things is you get out in front of that as a leader. You can't be afraid to do that. But there obviously there are going to be some problems if you don't do that. Yep, and that's something that was one of the things that I've learned as far, I think when I was a platoon sergeant on up. You know, the first thing I normally do is I look at the soldiers' SRB. Now it's SRB. Back in the day it was ERB, right? And I will always look at like what they've done, what positions they had, so I can put them to suit. But I also look at their family, if they have family, if they're married, if they have children,
I also look at their religion. That's one of the things that I've always paid attention to, because I know it's not saying catering to them, right? It's just basically allowing that person to practice what they need, like whatever they need,
Yeah,
but
because
also encouraging them.
because religion is the makeup of people. Like if that's who they are, that's how they function, that's how they think. And so if you can cater or encourage, whatever word you want to use, you're helping them become better soldiers. You understand? So one of the things that the sergeant major helped me with, he had a lot of people talking to me. He had a lot of people telling me I should do right. One of the things that the sergeant major was successful in, he touched my heart. And you know how he touched my heart? Because he knew I was a Muslim, but when I was around my family, he didn't call me private. He called me Mister. He touched my heart when I was around my wife, because we all men, right? When I was around my family and my kids, he called me Mister. When he came over to the house, he would call me Mister. Even though the Army says I was a private, that connotation sometimes is something that is seen upon as kind of dumb. What's the word? Derogatory. He understood that. And I gathered a leadership principle from that. When I'm talking to my subordinates around that family, I never call them by their rank. I mean, what a principle he taught me without even saying anything. He made me feel, even though I didn't feel like one, like a man around my family.
It's putting a humanizing element in.
That's right. Absolutely. Humanizing element. Because he's a sergeant major. He the top of the game. He could have made a move on my wife. He could have said that I was worthless. He could have said, oh, he's just a private. Look at me, I'm a sergeant major. He could have spent the whole night being derogatory to me. But he didn't. He treated me like a man in front of my wife and my children. And I tell you, it changed something in me. I got to be honest with you. It changed something in me. So when you're dealing with human beings, no matter what their religious preference is, no matter what their gender, no matter what their sexuality is, you better treat people with dignity and respect.
I say treat people like how you want to be treated. Treat people like how you want to be treated. You know, if you want to be treated properly, you have to treat people that type of way. And I'm going to go into this. Perception, that's the big word in the military now, right? Perception, especially in the Army. I know in the last, say, 6-7 years, perception is a big thing. Hey, if you have a female soldier in your office, for instance, I'm a first sergeant, female soldier comes in the office, you always got to leave the door open. But why is that? Because the perception is that you are doing something with that soldier. Well, you're thinking dirty mind. You're thinking negative. You know what I mean? That soldier wanted to come in the office to talk to me because she has an issue, right? And she didn't want everybody to listen in, especially training room clerks and stuff like that, right? But no, first on, the perception is that, you know, you don't want to have people perceive that you are having an affair with this woman. I'm a married man. I'm a happily married man. What are you perceiving? Are you judging me? Or are you basically stating that? You know? Yeah.
Well,
So
you got to understand, people judge you all the time, but do you have the confidence to withstand the judgment? I had a young lady in my office today, door closed, right? I don't worry about that because I can defend that at any time, right? But when you allow people to put their perceptions on you, now, one, you inauthentic. Two, you really just demoralize that female because you're saying to her, really, I can't trust you around me, neither can I trust myself around you. And so this is why women feel discriminated against. And I don't play that stuff. If she want to come in, I ask her, you want the door closed? And she said, yes, the door is closed. And we sat in there and talked for an hour. And we were laughing and clowning. And, you know, she had all kind of issues. And we were laughing and clowning through those issues. And you know what she said? And it's for me, it's emblematic of my life and who I am. She said, I was scared to come down here because I didn't want the chaplain telling me 15,000 scriptures and making me feel bad. She said, I feel like I just been talking to my friend for a whole hour and a half. I was successful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll come back time and time again when she is at her worst. She knows that she can come in that office and not be judged and just sit there and tell me whatever she needs to tell me. You know, and that's not, it's not just a chaplain job. That's a human job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, you know, now we talk about leadership, right? We talk about leadership, like you spoke about the Sergeant Major, and the guy which you're talking about, sounds very familiar to me. I don't want to ask. I ask you. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you, who was that Sergeant Major?
His name is Sergeant Major Ballard. We're still very good friends today.
Ballard.
Yeah, Sergeant Major Ballard. Anytime I go back to Texas, we go out to lunch, go to dinner, and he came to my promotion. And he said at the promotion, he said, this guy is a colonel, but he owes me that paycheck because he wouldn't be here without me. Yeah,
that name sounds very familiar.
But what a great joy, man, to see the product of kindness. And that I'm a product of his kindness. I'm a product of him understanding. It doesn't matter what my rank was in the military. I was a husband and a father, and he showed me dignity in front of my family. I didn't even know how to be a man. I didn't know how to talk to my wife or my children, but he knew how to talk to me, man. I tell you, I will be indebted to him forever.
That's what you call mentorship, and that's something that the Army, the military has. Mentors. Like, I'm not saying that all great mentors. There might be some bad, because every organization has some, bad apples in it, right? Every organization has bad apples in it. But at the same time, though, you take from the bad apples and use that to benefit you. Like, that you're not going to do that. Because during my 25 years, I've seen not a whole lot of great leaders, but I have a whole lot of great leaders. But the ones that I learned a lot from the bad ones, because I know what not to do, and that's what the Army has, that military has to offer, what I mean? But it's up to you.
That's more on the comp, non-comp, what are pros and cons. That's basically what comp and non-comp is. What you like in something, what you don't like in something, and you meet in the middle, and that's where it is.
That's right.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just gotta be strong enough to be able to know what you want. I think most of us, if you go into any organization, you go into any church, any mosque, any military, everybody has a philosophy, right? On how that organization runs, bylaws. But it's interesting. Human beings don't have those things for themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So when I think I was about 31 years old, and I was just walking through the building, you see the commander statement, the mission statement, and all of these things, right? And I said, you know what? Why does this organization have this and I don't have one for myself? So I sit down over the next month or so and decided what my philosophy was going to be. And so I came up with 4 I's, right? Interdict mediocrity, intercept ignorance, infuse excellence, and this is the most important one to me: influenced by many, defined by none. Right? So interdict mediocrity means I'm going to do my level best at anything that I'm doing. Right? I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to try to be better every day. So I'm going to interdict mediocrity. I'm going to forbid mediocrity in my life. I'm going to infuse excellence. This is an important one too, because my excellence is not the person's next to me's excellence. So I have ADHD. So I got all of these degrees, right? I sit down and read a book. It's going to take me 25 times to just understand it. And I'm still not going to understand it 100%. So all of my degrees, I didn't get any honors. I wasn't the top of my class. None of that stuff. My friends would read a book, take them an hour, they get an A. I read it for 5 hours and get a C. But I was infusing my excellence, right? That's my excellence. Yeah. Not comparative to anybody else. Intercept ignorance. Huge. anytime you have anybody in your life telling you you cannot do something, you should intercept that type of ignorance. Because nobody knows your capability. Most people speak to you from their limitations, what they can't do, what they can't accomplish, what they seen not done by other people. None of that has anything to do with you. Intercept ignorance. Influenced by many, defined by none. I take a lot. I'll take stuff from you guys tonight. I'll go after the show. I'll write it down. I like how you did this. I like how I did this. I need to get better at that. I'll take all of that. But I'm not you.
That's right.
I'll be influenced by that, but nothing you can do can define me because I've already defined who I am. So that's my philosophy.
That's and you know, and that's a.
Hey, did you just tell them about this conversation we just had a couple hours ago?
No, I did not. I promise you I did not. I promise you I did not. But this is the deal. Like, okay, so Dr. Shabazz, like I was basically talking to D Brooklyn, right? And like a lot of things that you expressed just now is certain things that I've expressed, because I've known, because I've been through those trials and tribulations coming up. I'll tell you a story. In 2011, 2012, I was competing to go to the next rank was Master Sergeant. I was Sergeant first class.
Yeah.
And a sergeant major came to me and was saying to me, I guess he was on the board, and he basically contacted back and said, I'm not getting selected or whatever for, because I'm missing something, a campaign star on my Iraqi campaign medal or something like that, right? So, but that same sergeant major throughout from that time, he ended up quote unquote unintentionally, but kind of felt like holding me back for say 5 or 6 years, right? Or I would say 4 or 5 years. But I said, no, man, I'm going to get it without you, with or without you. You know what I mean? It so happened the minute that he retired, the very next list I made. Now me, how I am, I'm going to show you, like, you're not going to hold me back. So I invited him to my change of responsibility. I've completed my tenure, but I've showed you that I invited him to my change of responsibility. And you know what? He showed up. And he's like, you know what, man? Hey, man, you just basically, in a certain sense, like, first of all, you should have been this a long time ago, right? Right? That was a conversation. You should have been a master sergeant a long time ago. You should be competing for sergeant major right now. And you know what? I judged you. And I judged you wrong. That was my thank you. That was what I wanted.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because nobody can stop you but you. And that's the same type of conversation I had earlier.
Yeah.
Nobody can stop you but you.
And what's important about that conversation is, I'll give you some more nuggets here. Truth out of season don't bring no harvest. You weren't ready to put on the next rank, right? Yeah. Whatever was going on, you weren't ready for it. So he didn't really stop you. He was a conduit that was used to stop you, but you weren't ready.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. And I'm not a prophet, I'm not an apostle, and God didn't tell me that. Most of the things that I haven't got in my life, I wasn't ready. I thought I was ready because everybody else was getting it. Everybody around me was obtaining it. But then I look back and I say to myself, I wasn't ready. So truth out of season don't bring no harvest. You got it when it was time for you to get it.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? To be honest with you, that was the best time of my life. When I finally got it, because you know what? I said to myself, I earned it. So I cherished it. You see what I'm saying? And I said, when I got pinned to Master Sergeant, I said to myself, it's time to give back. It's time to give back. It's not about me anymore. It's about the people with me. You know what I mean? To enhance them to be where I'm at today. And that's where I thought about it. And so the last 4 years of my military career, or let's say 5 years of my military career, that's exactly what I was doing, giving back. Promotion, enhancement, educating, financial, being a better person. Not a better soldier, a better person, a better father, a better husband.
Yeah, it's real life.
and I had the greatest time in the world. And it was time for me to go. So it's time to go. Yeah. So by you saying that, it's like you are reiterating what I was expressing to D Brooklyn earlier today. Am I right, D Brooklyn?
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chaplain Dr. Shabazz, like, so now you was enlisted, you came, you went to officer, you did, how many years you done now altogether?
28.
Wow.
28 years. And how long are you gonna, I know you're gonna get that start.
So I could stay until I'm 62. I'm 53 right now. I'll be 54, God willing, in December. I could stay until I'm 62. And so no Muslim chaplain obviously has never been general, because no Muslim chaplain had been colonel. So that will be at the hands of God. I hope it happens. I think not just because of me, I think it'd be just an inspiration to people that all over the world that says, okay, it doesn't matter if you're different. If you put in the hard work, it can happen for you, just like it happened for everybody else. And so I can retire right now and obviously go out and make a lucrative salary. But the Army, it's no other place like this in the world. Like I said, I could sit and talk to that soldier for 5 hours, and they would have said, "Oh my God, what an incredible leader you are." You go in the civilian world and talk to somebody more than 30 minutes, hey, brother, you better get to work. Right? So, that in itself will keep me around itself. So it's not really about the rank, but I got to be honest with you. When people say you can't have something, it pisses me off. I don't like that. And people are saying you can't have it just because you're a certain religion, a certain color, certain ethnicity. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, have you ever dealt with a conscientious objector?
Yes, many.
How did that go? Like, is that something like, I know a lot of the America wants to know that.
Well, I mean, it's easy. I mean, I always go into any situation thinking about that person, not myself, not my beliefs, not my values, because they're not my values. They're not my beliefs. They're his beliefs. They're her beliefs. So when the soldier says to me, I came in, I thought I wanted to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't want to carry a weapon, right? I say to myself, okay, let me write a memo for you and let me push it up the chain of command, because you're supposed to be unbiased. It's a great movie out there. I forget the name of the movie, but this guy was Seventh-day Adventist, right? He came in the Army. He decided he was a medic. He decided he didn't want to carry a weapon. It was against his religious beliefs. Everybody mocked him. They ostracized him. And that guy he got the Medal of Honor. He carried more wounded and dead people out of that battle zone than the people who had weapons. These lessons in life, man, will teach you to stop judging people.
Yeah.
That's why they call sincerely held beliefs. You cannot tell somebody if they're sincere or not. That's our problem. We always try to tell somebody how sincere they are. You don't know that.
And that goes back with perception. Is it perception or is it a judgment? Like,
no, it's a culture of you're afraid because you don't have your own values, right? So like they come in, they say conscious object. So all the Army guys, oh man, he a punk, he's scared, and if you say to them as a leader, say, listen, man, he ain't scared. He don't want to do it. Now the perception of you saw. So we're always fighting these perceptions. This is why I say you got to have a philosophy, man. You got to practice your philosophy. You got to say to yourself, here are my left and right limits. I'm not going outside of those. I don't care who like me, and I don't care who disagree with me, but this is my philosophy. And so part of my philosophy is being non-judgmental. even though we all judge initially.
Mm-hmm.
When I sit and hear the person, he says, I don't want to fight. I don't want to go to war. I don't want to do that. I don't have that type of temperament. I listen to him and I give him what he needs. Because internally, I don't know what's going on with him. And second of all, he has to deal with that. That's his integrity. That's his values. I can't give him those.
That's right.
Well, that's part of communication process anyway. Whenever you're speaking to somebody, you don't know what's in that person's head. You know what I mean? So you can be like going out, partying, whatever, come back, and then there's one guy just sitting in his room, roommate or whatever, in barracks or whatever. I've been going to Samaritan World to folks out there that are in college in a dorm. And this one kid is sitting there just alone playing video games or whatever. But why is he doing that? There's cause and effect for everything in this world. And everybody's looking at the effect and it's like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, without even looking at the root of the problem.
That's right. Absolutely.
And the root of the problem, and the way I look at it, as far as religion and a chaplain's duties, the root of the problem is here. You have to touch somebody first to get them to open up. Because mostly I've been quiet this whole time. Why? Because I'm learning. Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning to grow as a person. So when I look at that, when I look at and process what you've been talking about, it's like, okay, I made mistakes. Okay, everybody makes mistakes. Who cares?
That's right.
How do I move forward? How do I go and better myself? And if I can't better myself, you know what? There's other people that need help.
Yeah, absolutely. And and helping other people is actually bettering yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because the more people you help, the more you grow. You're actually helping yourself. If I saw a guy, which I have, a guy on video games and everybody is going out partying, the problem is we see that guy as abnormal. He might be the most normal guy in the group, right?
Yeah,
right?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So I'll go over and just sit down with him for 15 minutes and play video games and let him teach me about his world, right? What I'm essentially doing there, I'm providing preventive measures so when he needs to talk to somebody, he'll come talk to me instead of saying, oh my God, why aren't you going out drinking and smoking with these other guys? They look like they having fun. But as I told you guys in the beginning, I was drinking and smoking. I wasn't having fun. I was trying to dull my pain.
Yeah.
So we have a perception that they having fun and this guy is abnormal. He might be the most normal guy.
Well, let me ask you something, sir.
Yeah.
What is normal anyway?
Normal is an illusion. What's normal to the spider is death to the fly. So I'm a chaplain. You guys are whatever you are, right? You are specializing in what you do, right? And so I help you from this side, you help me from that side. Are you guys abnormal? No, you're doing what you're doing. Am I normal because I'm a chaplain? No, I'm doing what I do. Those worlds are now intersecting.
Yes.
Right? And that's the normality. That's the normalcy. The problem is whatever we do, because we're arrogant people, whatever we do, we think we're normal and everybody else is abnormal.
Yeah. Well, I do have a few questions as far as the chaplain world. Sure. Now, there's a chaplain assistant that's very good friends of mine. I didn't really know what a chaplain's assistant's duties were, and he basically put it out. He was an 11 Bravo initially. Every class. I don't want to butcher the number. I don't remember what it is. It's like 53 something or something like that. 54 something, whatever the MOS designator is. Chaplain assistant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I didn't know that their primary duty is to keep you alive.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, because we don't carry weapons.
Exactly. A lot of people don't understand, like, okay, you're in the Army, but you don't carry a weapon. Well, that's not your job, sir. It's not.
That's right.
Your job is to mentor and to provide spiritual guidance. I'm not telling you. You already know.
Right. And so what happens is those chaplain assistants get harshly judged. You know why?
Exactly.
Because people think they're supposed to be religious. No, I'm the religious guy.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see a chaplain assistant drinking or smoking, they're like, man, what kind of chaplain assistant are you? Well, I assist the chaplain. It don't mean I'm the chaplain, right? And so, again, perception and judgment is erroneous. That's why you got to get to talk to people and know them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the biggest. That's a big thing in society, not just the Army.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're terrified. We're terrified of people who think like different than us, who look different than us, whose paradigm is different than us, because it makes us uncomfortable. I mean,
well,
really.
I don't understand why people focus on the differences and judge the differences. I say embrace them, whether you're black, white, purple, green, whatever. If you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, why don't you have a conversation with somebody?
Because
find out about somebody's religion to understand.
Because most of us are insecure and we're afraid that of being uncomfortable. I mean, I sat down with an atheist, and he asked me a question. I want you guys to hear this. He said, "Hey, chaplain, man, listen, no disrespect, but I really ain't got time to be talking to no chaplain." I said, "Listen, no problem. I just came to sit down and talk to you as a human being." He said, "Well, I know you're gonna push your religion on me and all that kind of stuff and tell me I'm going to hell." I said, "Well, that's really short-sighted of you, because I don't talk to people about religion at all." And he said, "Well, you don't 100% believe in what you believe in?" I said, "Absolutely not." It shocked him. Right? I mean, just think about this. Anybody in religion, and I don't want to be offensive to anybody, who says they have 100% truth and confidence in what they believe, I don't believe that they're truthful people. We all have doubts. We all have insecurities. We hope what we believe is right, but hope is not certainty, right? So I could be 100% wrong. And me and him had a great friendship while I was in the unit. He said, "I've never heard it put that way." Yeah. I said, people put up a front to say they believe in stuff 100%. And I further went on to say, now this shocked them and it probably will shock you guys too. I said, I don't trust my wife 100%. He said, "Okay, chaplain." He said, "Chaplain."
No.
He said, "That's too much." I said, "Brother, let me explain." I said, "Let's talk to the root of the problem, the root of who we are." Yeah. I said, "I have broken promises to myself. I don't even trust myself 100% because I can't. So how can I trust another human being 100%? I say we are hypocritical when we say that.
That's true. Is that
true?
That is true. That is absolute truth. That is absolutely
You know
true.
what I'm saying? So I'm a thinking person. So I said to myself, if I've broken promises to myself, I can't trust another human being 100% because we're all weak.
That's right.
And that's not being offensive to my wife. That's not being offensive to any of my friends. But I'm just a truth teller. I know I don't trust you 100%. That don't even make sense.
It's just being honest.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. That's what it is. And that's relationships. That's relationships with spouses. That's relationship with people. That's relationship with friends. That's relationship with people that you just meet. Like you're not gonna give in all the 100% all the time. You know what I mean? You just have to know yourself a little bit more to understand yourself to bring forth something to the table. And you can always bring something to the table, but you just don't know. You know what I mean? You just don't know because you're human. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. You know. That's what's up. Now, so what is like? Is there anything that you would like to talk about, like besides everything? Because I'm pretty much done with all my questions. You know what I mean?
Bro. I mean, I mean, for real. I mean, we've talked about it all. You know, if I can leave on this note, it is, you know, most people die at 25, but they're not buried until they're 75. I'm going to say that again.
Wow.
Most people die at 25, but they're not buried until they're 75 because they buy into this false concept of reality. There's no reality to your upward mobility. The only reality is the one you make in your mind. I never thought that I could be this person. I never even dreamed that I could be this person because somebody had put a false narrative in my head that my life was limited. I started this journey at 31 years old. I'm 53 now. I've done more than most people have done in 2 lifetimes because I stopped believing in the false narrative of what I couldn't do. And anybody who was around me, intercept ignorance, who told me I couldn't do something, they got the boot. And when I say they got the boot, it's not that I never talked to them again, but I didn't give them a dedicated amount of time where they were around me all the time.
Yeah.
Because you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around. Your mama and your grandmama and all the people in your life been telling you that for years. But now you are a freaking adult. And we act like we're in high school, that we have to have these naysayers around us. And those people are putting a whole lot of limitations in your life. I'll say this and I'll be finished. I don't let anybody, listen to me carefully, speak into my life without permission. I'm going to say that again. I don't let anybody speak into my life without permission. Neither one of you guys has come up and say, hey, Chap, I just want to tell you, I think you're doing this wrong about your life. I say, ho, brother, ho. You know what's amazing? We are afraid to correct people for disrespecting us, and we are disrespecting ourselves by not correcting them. So I say, hold on, brother. No disrespect to you, but I didn't ask for your advice on that. Right? That seems confrontational. It seems abrasive, and it shocks people. But just think about how dangerous it is for somebody to come in and tell you about your life and do not actually have the intricacies of how you think, how you feel, and what you're going to do really with that with your life. They're only guessing. And most of the time, they're speaking to you through their own limitations. It is nobody in my life, not one person, who thought I would be here. All of them told me, are you crazy? These are my best friends. Are you a effing Muslim in the military? You're going to be a chaplain. You're going to get over in Iraq and they're going to bury you in a body bag. You think you're going to make it past captain? Those people are hateful. They hate Muslims. They're going to kill you, right? I heard it all. And so that's when you got to say to yourself, these guys are speaking pure ignorance in my life. They were speaking to their fears. They were speaking to their limitations. They were speaking to their own deficits. All of those people now.
Brother, you giving me goosebumps now right now.
Yeah,
because that's
all of those
so
people
real.
now call me for mentorship. And they say how strong I am, how much courage I have. But those people, had I let them, I never would have been here. I was at PLDC, Germany, and I got to close because I got another event. I was in Germany, just failed the map reading test. You know, 13 Bravos can't read maps, right? So
that is true. Because I feel PLDC myself.
My friend, my best friend, I want you to hear this. He pulled me aside, and I had tears in my eyes because I already had felt like a failure all my life. He said, brother, I got to tell you this. You know how people tell you, I'm your friend. I got to tell you the truth because ain't nobody else going to tell you. Listen to me carefully now. He said, the military is not for you. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
The military is not for you. I'm a full bird colonel right now. Think of what I'm listening
Yeah.
This is my
Exactly.
best friend.
Yeah.
That's why I don't allow anybody to speak into my life now. I stopped that at 42. I had to get the courage to start telling people no. I stopped allowing people to speak in my life at 42 years old. That was about 12 years ago.
Wow. And that's the whole thing, and those that are out there, soldiers that are coming in or continue going through the ranks. This is a perfect solution. You can do whatever you want to do. You just got to put forth an effort, one step at a time. Like what is it to say on Rocky or on Creed? That movie Creed, one step at a time, one round at a time, one punch at a time, or whatever it may be. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Now, we're talking to the greatest right now. The greatest. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali right here. Muhammad Ali in the chaplain form. You know what I mean? The Muhammad Ali.
That's right.
Chaplain form right here.
That's
The greatest. You know what I mean?
Right.
A human being has a family, has friends, went through ups and downs, the whole nine. But you know what? He kept on persevering. And he's giving back to people. That's what basically pleases him. That's his promotion. 38 people that he basically converted from enlisted to officer round. You said 38 people. You said so.
83.
My bad. 50 something more people. 83 people that he basically converted from a enlisted to an officer to enhance their life. You know what I mean? Motivation. I don't know what else to tell you. I feel like going back in the military after I speak to your ass. I want to go back. I want to go back to goddamn deployment. You know what I mean? Like, I shave my beard. Let's go. Let's get it. You know what I mean? Seriously, like, yo. But this is the people that, like, I had around me that people take for granted. That's the thing. The people that are positive, you take for granted. The people that are negative, that's the one that destroys. Just like having one not so good soldier that you spend 99% of your time on, right?
Yeah.
Yo, stop spending 99% of your time on something to validate something about yourself, and go out there and use that 99% to validate yourself. And personal perseverance. You know what I mean? Validate yourself and go out there and get it, because it's there for you. 10 years old, been through deployments, been through situations, family situations prior to even joining the United States military. Talking about getting chaptered out the Army after a year in the military. You're probably going to get chaptered for failure to adapt, right? But continue said, no, I'm gonna stay in this bad boy, because he had a mentor, one person, or maybe a few people. Because I'm sure your wife, Dr. Shabazz, helped you throughout all these years as well.
Yeah,
and
sure.
your family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now has 5 master's degrees, 2 doctorate degrees, and committed the first 25 years of your life, and the next 25 years of your life, which is past 25 because you're 54 years old next month, to help others and fix your life.
Yeah.
That's a testimony.
Absolutely.
That's a testimony. And that's why I want you to retire, and then come along with me and come along with Apex 07.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
Because we need you, brother. We need you, brother. We need you. We need you. You know what I mean? We need you. The big Iman. The big Iman. You know what I mean? The big Iman. The big Iman, baby.
Yeah,
6'5", 255 pounds of straight muscle. Bench press is 400 pounds, and he's just a regular human being, just like you and me.
That's
just
right.
like you and me. He's
Absolutely.
a colonel. He's a colonel by day, colonel by trade, but a family man. Not a colonel. Not Colonel Shabazz. Mr. Shabazz. Daddy. Baby. Honey. Father. Granddaddy. Outside the military. Perfect testimony.
Right. Thank
Perfect
you guys
testimony.
so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And we're gonna keep it going, Dr. Shabazz, man, because we're gonna I always reach out to you, from time to time, be like, man, I'm going through this right now,
Absolutely.
Hey,
Yeah,
what do I need to do?
you guys got access to me, man, for sure. And I know I got access to you guys. So let's just keep uplifting each other. I think that's what's important, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, fellas.
Absolutely.
Got another event,
All
man.
right.
All right, be good.
Yep. All right, peace out. Apex 07 show out. Peace.